Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to do another story. Haven't done one in a while. Got to continue the little trend or whatever that's kind of continued with that pretty much throughout all my storytime videos, and it's true, I don't do them all the time, and you know what, I'm not even going to get down that route. It seems like that's something I cover in every video, and I always say, oh, I'm going to do more of them, and I'm going to be better this time, and then, well, yeah, here we are 4 or 5 months later with no story times, and that's how it always ends up, right? But today, I'm just going to drop a little, casual one on your head, a little casual story on your head for this one. Fellas, what if I told you that I had a whole worst week of my life? This whole week was absolute garbage. It was beyond just a living nightmare. I have never had a week line up like this one ever in my life. I mean, this was... wow, like thinking back on it, right? Like I'm glad that it's in my past and I hope that that's the worst week I ever have. And I've done this story video before, but I did it in like 2015, so it sucked. Some of you gonna say, what changed? Bitch, everything changed? Nah, but with that being said, yeah, this was the worst week of my life, man. So I don't even remember what grade this happened in. I know it happened in middle school though. It was probably like 5th or 6th, probably 6th grade. That sounds... because that sounds right. Like, I have pretty much all my years of my life kind of mapped to where I'm like, oh yeah, this is the kind of stuff that was happening, this is what I was up to, this is what was going on in my life, the games I was playing, like, I got that whole thing kind of figured out. So, I've kind of, weaseled my way through life, just getting by doing random things, and just kind of mapping everything that happens in the background. So, we'll just say 6th grade to keep it safe and whatnot, and it was getting towards the end of the school year. It really was. Like, it was starting to kind of warm back up outside. It wasn't like hot or anything, but it was that point in the weather where it's, spring, it's a little bit nicer and everything, so, people's moods eventually start to pick up around that time, right? Like, we start doing things maybe a little bold that we wouldn't do if it was still the cold, harsh winter that we all gotta survive and whatnot. So, I'm gonna blame that one for the big step in my behavior, but riding the bus home in middle school was crazy, right? Like, you had all your friends on there and you were just kind of all doing your thing, kicking it and everything, and just kind of hanging out, and that was always cool, right? Like, I enjoyed the bus rides. A lot of funny things happened on those, and well, one of them is it led to the worst week of my life. Let's put it simple, but this happened on a Monday, okay? And basically we all got on the bus, and pretty much, like, I was like the clown of the bus in a way. Like, I kind of just made everybody laugh and like did stupid shit and acted ignorant and whatnot, and people would laugh, and that was kind of the reputation I'd built around that time, just because yeah, that's just how I was. And well, this time around it definitely started to bite me in the ass. So I'm still obviously really big into rap and whatnot, if you follow me on Twitter and stuff, but I was real big into Lil Wayne at the time. Maybe not as much as I am now, but like that was back during Wayne's reign, man. I don't know if anyone who listens to rap knows how influential Lil Wayne really was to the entire genre in general. But dude, from like 2008 to 2012, dude, he literally had everything on lock. He was doing every song as a feature. All of his music was selling crazy, right? Like, that was just, it was Wayne's season for real, and it was crazy. So I was definitely into Lil Wayne, and still am. Still one of the GOATs. But with that being said, like, I don't know why I did this, but essentially I wrote down some lyrics to a song that he had put out that were pretty fucking vulgar, if I do say so. It mentioned, like, blowing someone's head off or something like that, and dude, this was so stupid, right? Like, it was just ignorant that I even did this. Looking back on it, it's like, what was I even thinking? But I wrote these lyrics down on a piece of paper, which already was just fucking stupid enough. But then, as the bus is going on its route and everything, dropping kids off at their houses, bumping all over the road and shit, being crazy, I ball this thing up, and I turn over the seat, and I throw it to my friend, like, 5 seats back. Now, at this point, I, like, had moved up a couple seats, because usually I was sitting back there with them, and I fucking throw this ball of Lil Wayne lyrics, essentially, at my friend in the back of the bus. Well, he catches it, which I'm like, okay, yeah, that's kind of what was intended. Now, obviously, I intended for him to read it and be like, oh, haha, yeah, I know that song too, very stupid. I can't really stress that enough, just ignorance. But that's what I expected. No, No, that's not what happened, because that would have fucking made sense. That would have been like the logical thing to happen. Of course, someone throws a note at you balled up, yeah, you read it. That's, I thought was common sense. Apparently not to him, because he throws it back at me, and he doesn't just throw it back at me, you know, to the point where I can catch it. He throws it horribly, and it flies past me a few seats ahead and lands in another empty seat. We're at that point of the bus ride where it's kind of narrowing out. People are getting the fuck up off the bus and going home. That's just how it is. So there's a lot of empty seats, and I'm like, okay, that landed in an empty seat. I'll just go up and grab it real quick and then head back. So I go up, and it doesn't take that long, right? It feels pretty much instantaneous, me getting up there to that seat. But no. It was not instantaneous. Now, with the bus moving, that motherfucker was gone, right? Like, it wasn't anywhere around anymore. There was no finding it. It left the seat and rolled down the floor somewhere. And this is back in the day, man, where, like, I don't think in high school I could do it because I was, like, 6'1", 6'2". But back in middle school, basically, you can, like, almost hang upside down like a bat from a tree and, like, look around under the seats pretty easily. And that's what I did, man. I was looking around. I was like, where the fuck did this note go? There can't be that many, you know, balls of paper laying on this school bus. And bro, it's nowhere. And keep in mind, it hadn't been that long. It might have been like 15 seconds max after this whole thing had happened. It was gone. I could see a couple, you know, pairs of legs and feet from kids up at the front of the bus getting ready to get off. I could see pencils. I could see the dirt marks and the disgustingness of the floor. Bro, I could not see the piece of paper that I had written that shit in. And so instantaneously, fear strikes me down. I'm like, okay, great. So that shit is going to get taken completely out of context. They're going to think that I'm threatening somebody. And best part of all, it's in my fucking handwriting. So it's not like it would be that hard for them to figure it out. And people are always like, oh, bro, they would never look at the handwriting and try and figure something like that out. I know for a fact that's not true, because when I was in high school, one of the several bomb threats that we had called to the school got solved when the police and the school essentially cross-referenced a student's assignments with the handwriting on the wall where the threat was written and got his ass. They straight up had like a level 19 research facility in their Clash of Clans village, bro, and just figured that shit out. But of course, that was before all that, so I didn't even know they would go that far. But yes, I found out that they would go that far later on. So day one passes and it's nowhere to be found. No one picks it up and says anything. The bus driver doesn't ask anyone about it. I get off the bus and I'm like, bro, this is about to be so painful to have to deal with when they find this shit, because God only knows what they're gonna do. So I get on the bus the next morning and I'm fully expecting for the bus driver to be like, were you the one who wrote it? Like trying to figure out and see if she could get a confession from some of the people on the bus. Nothing is said to me. I get on the bus and I got a pit in my stomach just waiting to get to the school because I'm afraid that they're gonna review the tapes or something and try and figure the whole thing out. By the way, not every single school camera or school bus camera is a dud, but a lot of cameras that they have set up in the schools and stuff like that are actually not real cameras, and they're put there to deceive you into acting correctly. Now, I don't know if that was the truth with what was happening on my bus or if it actually did have footage or not. I have no idea, but nothing happens when I get to school either, and I'm like, okay, now what the fuck is going on? Like, because obviously they should be trying to figure out who did this shit, like, quickly. So I go the whole day worrying, nothing happens, get on the bus, once again worried, nothing happens. And I'm talking to my friends, I'm like, bro, you don't even know what it said, right? Like, it actually said some foul shit. Or the school's gonna think it's foul shit. It really isn't that foul. I mean, it's just music lyrics, but I was nervous, right? I was like, so how are we gonna explain this one away? What do we do? Nobody had an idea. That's what was really great about the whole thing. Nobody knew how to handle this situation, and like, why would we, right? No one had been through this. I had gotten myself into this situation. Now I was essentially probably going to end up the guinea pig on what happens if you do something like this. So every single day of the week, I got on the bus just terrified, thinking, oh shit, this is the day where the bus driver confronts me. This is the day that I go to jail for writing Lil Wayne lyrics on a piece of paper. This really isn't about to be a fun time. So I'm spending the whole bus ride that, generally speaking, I would be like acting a fool on, making people laugh, getting in a stray fight on, which happened once. Just doing some ignorant shit, right? But no, I'm sitting in my seat acting like a good little boy, which is very out of character for me at the time. So everyone's like, bro, you good? Like, what's going on, right? Like, why aren't you acting up, being crazy, doing dumb shit? And I'm like, bro, I have no idea if I'm about to get in like some serious trouble or not. Like, we need to figure out how to handle this. And once again, we could not find any fucking way to get out of this situation. We couldn't think our way out of a cardboard box, apparently, because I feel like you put me and my friends together now in that situation, I'd be like, oh, okay, we can figure something out within the 15 minutes we have here, right? I don't know, but at the time, dude, we were all just kind of frozen place, stunned about what was going on. So eventually it gets to Friday, and it's been the whole week that I've essentially had this pit in my stomach just waiting for this whole thing to break down and go crazy, go stupid, go bonkers, go mental. Right, I'm just waiting on the whole situation. Now, I get on the bus, and once again, nothing happens, and, you know, I'm happy. It's like, hey, it's the end of the week, like, I got the whole weekend to mull this whole thing over. We'll see what happens. But then I start thinking, like, isn't it kind of suspicious that the bus driver has yet to find this note? I mean, the bus drivers, like, from what they tell us, like, they go down the bus after the end of it, and, like, everyone's dropped off, and they make sure no one leaves, like, backpacks and things like that, and they apparently sweep the floor with the little decrepit-ass broom in the back, make sure everything's like up to keep or whatever. They're trying to make sure their shit's cleaned up and whatnot so all the kids can come back and dirty it again tomorrow. So I was just like, okay, that's kind of suspicious, right? Because, like, it's been the whole week now. She has yet to do anything about it. So, like, if she hasn't found it, then it's still floating around out there and it's still going to get me in trouble potentially. But if she has found it, why the fuck is she not saying anything, right? Like, I was getting very suspicious. And so when I got off the bus that day, I was like, you know what? I think I'll just ask her and see what's going on, see if I can clear the whole thing up. So, dude, I feel like I'm preparing for war. Like, I'm about to rush the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, right? Bus is pulling up to the house. It's slowing down, you know, there's that weird feeling where, like, you're moving forward and you're, like, trying not to fall. If you were a real gamer back in the day, you would, like, position your legs and muscles and shit to, like, stand still throughout the whole thing and just stand there like a flag post or something. That was real gamer shit. But essentially, when I passed her, I'm like, okay, this is now or nothing, right? And I asked her, I'm like, hey, did you see a note on the floor anytime this week? And she's like, oh, yeah, I did. And at that point, I'm like, oh, fuck, man, like, I shouldn't have even said anything. She wasn't suspicious. Now she's extra suspicious. She knows that I've asked about it. No one else has to have asked about it. She's about to figure out that it was me. So I'm like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, I dropped some of my notes from class. Just bullshit. And she was like, oh yeah, I didn't actually read it. I just threw it away. And I was like, oh, thank fucking God, right? Because, like, you know how some teachers are, man. They see a note or something and they're like, what's that, Mr. Jenkins? Why don't you go ahead and pass that up to the front of the class so we can all read it? You know how people who work in schools are, man. They're nosy as fuck. Can't let anybody have a conversation. Always trying to hold you back from doing your real thing and having fun. That's just how it is, man. Teachers are trifling sometimes. But yeah, apparently she picked this note up that could have gotten me in some very serious trouble and just fucking threw it away. And it was gone. I don't know. It's probably in a landfill or something right now. The biggest sigh of relief I've ever let off, I was like, oh, well, I mean, I can replace those notes. I'm just glad that someone, you know, didn't pick them up or cheat or something, just bullshitting my way out of it. And I think that made her really suspicious, right? Because she didn't act right with me for the rest of the year. So I'm starting to wonder, like, thinking about it now, like, did she see this shit and think that I'm a weirdo or something like that? Like, what's going on here? I mean, I have no idea at the end of the day. I have no contact with this person. I've never gotten in trouble for the situation. No one has ever brought it up to me besides us laughing when we look back on shit. That's just how it is. But man, that was a very relieving moment in my life. But that capped off the whole week of hell. Like, that whole week sucked. I mean, if you don't know what it's like to be worrying about some just, you know, extraterrestrial type shit while you're in the middle of class, just completely alien shit that you shouldn't be worrying about, you really don't know the struggle of trying to do this. Be in math class trying to finish your homework before the bell rings, and you're just sitting here wondering, like, am I gonna be arrested in the next 3 seconds? Okay, I'm good. What about the next 3 seconds? Like, that doesn't feel good. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I never made that mistake again. That was one I learned from very quickly. That was just ignorant looking back on it. Should never have put myself in that position. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new right on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch and sub to Optimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. Not going through a week like that shit ever again, hopefully. And signing out.